The Millionaire's twins were blind until the new black maid changed everything. Clara had never imagined that her first day at the Harrison mansion would feel so intimidating. She stood in front of the grand gates, looking up at the tall, imposing house. Its walls were painted in soft cream, with large windows that shimmered under the morning sun. The garden was perfectly trimmed, and fountains sparkled as water danced in the light. It was beautiful, almost like something out of a movie, but there was a strange quietness to it, a feeling that the house held secrets. Clara took a deep breath and pressed the doorbell. A butler appeared within moments, a tall man with a serious expression. He gave Clara a polite nod and introduced himself as Mr. Collins. "You must be Clara," he said, his voice low but formal. "Come in. The master and mistress are expecting you." Clara stepped inside, and the smell of polished wood and fresh flowers filled the air. She couldn't help but notice the silence that seemed heavier than the walls themselves. There were pictures on the walls of smiling children, a family dressed in elegant clothes, but the smiles didn't seem real. It was almost as if the house had been waiting for something or someone to bring it to life. Mr. Collins led her down a long hallway into the main living room. Mr. Harrison, the millionaire, was sitting on a luxurious sofa, reading a newspaper. He looked up when Clara entered and gave a quick nod. Mrs. Harrison, his wife, was sitting near a large window, knitting quietly. Both greeted her politely, but their eyes were distant, distracted, as though they were used to keeping their emotions carefully locked away. "We are glad you are here," Mr. Harrison said. "The children need someone patient and kind. Someone who can help them in ways we cannot." Clara nodded. She had been a maid in many homes before, but she had never been told that her work would involve something like this. "I'll do my best," she said softly. Mrs. Harrison looked at her, a hint of relief in her eyes, but it was quickly hidden behind a practiced smile. "The twins. Lily and Lucas," she said, "they are delicate children. They cannot see like other children. You will need to be careful." Clara felt a strange mix of excitement and worry. She had worked with children before, but she had never cared for children who were considered blind. She had heard stories about parents being overprotective, and she knew that her role would be more than just cleaning and cooking. She would need to touch their hearts as much as their hands. Mr. Collins led her upstairs to the children's wing. The hallway was lined with paintings of landscapes, oceans, and animals. Clara paused at each painting, imagining how a child might experience these scenes if they could not see them. She wondered how Lily and Lucas perceived the world, what they felt when the sun touched their skin or when the wind brushed against their faces. When they reached the door of the twins' room, Clara's heart skipped a beat. She heard soft murmurs inside, laughter mixed with uncertain noises. She opened the door gently and stepped in. The room was bright, filled with toys neatly arranged on shelves, a colorful carpet on the floor, and two small beds covered with warm blankets. But the room felt strangely quiet, as if the toys were waiting for someone to awaken them. The twins were sitting on the carpet, their faces turned slightly away from her. Lily, a small girl with curly hair, and Lucas, her twin brother, seemed cautious and still. Clara noticed how they held their toys close, as if the objects were anchors in a world they could not see. She smiled warmly and knelt down to their level. "Hello," she said gently. "My name is Clara. I'm here to help you." The twins didn't respond at first. They just listened, their heads tilting slightly toward her voice. Clara didn't rush. She knew from experience that trust needed time, especially with children who had been sheltered from the world. She reached out slowly, offering a soft stuffed rabbit. "Would you like to meet Mr. Bunny?" she asked. Lily's small hand trembled as she reached for the toy. Lucas leaned closer, curiosity in his posture, though he didn't speak. Clara handed the rabbit to Lily and encouraged Lucas to feel its soft fur. Slowly, a change began. The twins' nervous energy eased just a little. They explored the toy with their hands, discovering its shape, its texture, its warmth. Clara described every detail as she did it. Mr. Bunny has long ears that flop down. He has a little pink nose and soft, round paws. For the first time, Clara noticed a flicker of something in their eyes, a spark of recognition, though they could not see her face clearly. She realized that the twins were listening not just to her words, but to the emotion behind them. Her voice painted pictures they could not see, and for the first time, they seemed to understand that the world might be larger and warmer than the silence they had always known. Over the next few days, Clara settled into the mansion's rhythm. She cleaned the rooms, prepared meals, and attended to the twins. But most of her time was spent engaging with Lily and Lucas. She would sit on the carpet with them, describe colors and shapes, tell them stories, and encourage them to touch objects around the room. She described the sunlight streaming through the window, the gentle sway of the curtains, the sound of birds outside. She turned the world into words, and the twins listened, absorbing every detail with care. She also noticed the house itself seemed lonely, as if it had been waiting for life. The walls echoed with Clara's presence and the soft laughter of the twins. She began to understand why the Harrison family had been distant. They were overwhelmed, unsure how to connect with their children, and afraid of pushing them too far. Clara didn't judge them. Instead, she focused on what she could do. Every day, she discovered small signs of progress. Lucas would reach for her hand to feel the texture of a book, and Lily would hum along to her songs, following the rhythm with her tiny fingers. Clara realized that the children were not truly blind, they had simply never been encouraged to explore. Their world had been limited, confined to what they could touch or hear. Clara made it her mission to expand it, to give them experiences beyond the walls of their room. Even the staff noticed the change. The butler, Mr. Collins, would comment quietly to her, "The twins seem different since you arrived. There's more light in their voices." Clara smiled but remained focused on her work. She knew it would take time for the children to truly open up, and patience was her greatest ally. At night, after the twins were asleep, Clara would sit by the window in the quiet of the mansion. She would look at the moonlight reflecting on the polished floors and think about how much potential lay hidden in Lily and Lucas. She imagined a day when they could explore the garden freely, feel the sun on their faces, and experience life in ways they had never dreamed. She promised herself that she would help them reach that day, no matter how long it took. In those first days, Clara also began to notice the subtleties of the Harrison family. Mr. Harrison, though busy and distant, would glance at the twins occasionally, a mixture of worry and pride in his eyes. Mrs. Harrison seemed trapped in routines of control and caution, trying to protect the children but failing to see that protection alone could not give them life. Clara understood that change would need courage, not just care. The turning point of her first week came one morning when she heard the twins laughing together. It was soft, hesitant at first, but genuine. Clara felt a surge of hope. It was a sound she had never heard in the mansion before, a sound that promised growth, discovery, and perhaps even joy. She realized that her presence was not just helping the twins, it was awakening the house itself, bringing warmth, light, and life back into the silent corners. By the end of the first week, Clara felt a bond forming with the twins. They trusted her in small ways, responded to her encouragement, and began to explore the room with curiosity. It was not instant, and it would not be easy, but the spark was there. Clara knew that patience, love, and careful guidance could unlock abilities even the doctors had overlooked. She felt a quiet determination rising in her heart. The twins' world would grow, and she would be the one to help them see it not just with their eyes, but with their hearts. Clara went to bed that night exhausted but hopeful. She knew this was just the beginning. The mansion had been waiting for her, and the twins had been waiting for someone who could believe in them. She had no idea how much their lives and hers would change in the weeks and months to come. But one thing was certain, Clara was ready, and the story of Lily and Lucas was about to unfold in ways no one could have imagined. Clara woke up early the next morning, as she always did. The mansion was quiet, except for the soft rustling of leaves outside and the faint hum of the fountains. She quietly made her way to the twins' room, carrying a small basket of toys she had brought with her. Today, she thought, would be a day for discovery, a day to help Lily and Lucas feel the world around them in new ways. As she entered the room, the twins were already awake, sitting on the carpet with their small hands resting on their knees. Clara greeted them warmly. "Good morning, Lily." "Good morning, Lucas. Are you ready for a new adventure today?" Lily tilted her head and smiled faintly, while Lucas's fingers twitched as if he were eager to reach out. Clara knelt down to their level, gently placing the basket in front of them. "Today," she said, "we are going to explore shapes and textures. We'll touch, feel, and imagine. Are you ready?" The twins nodded, though cautiously. Clara picked up a soft, round ball from the basket. "This is a ball," she explained, rolling it slowly toward them. "It's round, smooth, and bounces when you push it." She demonstrated by pressing it gently on the floor, letting it bounce a little. Lily reached out and held it, feeling its smooth surface. Lucas pressed it against his palm and shook it slightly, listening to the faint sound it made. Clara described everything she did in detail. "See how it rolls easily? The ball moves quickly across the floor when you push it. You can feel the air it cuts as it moves. Can you hear it rolling?" The twins leaned closer, listening intently. Clara realized that her words were slowly opening a window to the world for them. They were beginning to understand not through sight, but through touch, sound, and imagination. After the ball, Clara brought out other toys, a soft teddy bear, a small wooden car, and a textured puzzle. Each time, she described the objects vividly, encouraging the twins to explore every detail with their hands. "The teddy bear has fluffy fur, a tiny nose, and soft ears," she said. "The car has 4 wheels that roll and a smooth roof you can touch." The twins began to respond in surprising ways. Lily reached out to trace the shape of the car, feeling the edges carefully. Lucas listened to Clara's voice and tried to imitate the movements she described. Clara smiled quietly, noticing the small but important signs that the children were learning to connect their senses in ways they never had before. After the toys, Clara led the twins to the window. The sunlight poured in, and she guided their hands to feel the warmth on their skin. "The sun is like a soft blanket," she explained. "It's warm and bright. Can you feel it on your face?" Lily tilted her face toward the window, her eyes closed, and Lucas followed. Clara described the world outside, the trees swaying in the wind, the birds singing, the soft grass moving as if dancing. She wanted the twins to know that the world was full of life, even if they could not see it fully yet. As days passed, Clara developed new routines to help the twins explore their senses. She created small obstacle courses in the living room with cushions, rugs, and toys. She encouraged Lily and Lucas to move carefully, describing each step they took. "Step over the pillow," she would say. "Feel the carpet beneath your feet. Can you hear it rustle as you walk?" Slowly, the twins began to navigate the room with more confidence. Their movements were cautious but deliberate, showing that they were learning to trust their own abilities. Clara also introduced music into their daily life. She would play soft tunes on a small piano and sing along, encouraging the twins to follow the rhythm. Lily began to tap her fingers in time with the music, while Lucas tried to hum along. Clara explained the instruments, the notes, and the emotions each song could convey. Music became a bridge for the twins, connecting them to feelings and experiences beyond their limited perception. One afternoon, Clara decided to take the twins outside to the garden. The first time they felt the grass under their bare feet, it was as if they had discovered a new world. She held their hands carefully, guiding them along paths lined with flowers and shrubs. "The grass is soft and ticklish," she said. "The flowers have petals that are smooth or rough, and some have strong smells. Take a deep breath and see if you can find the rose. Can you smell it?" Lily sniffed and smiled, while Lucas leaned closer, trying to identify each flower by its scent and texture. The garden became a place of wonder for the twins. Clara would describe the sky, the clouds, the wind, and the sounds of birds. She encouraged them to feel the bark of trees, the leaves, and even the cool water from the fountain. Every day, they grew more confident in exploring. Clara noticed that their movements became smoother, their reactions quicker, and their curiosity stronger. While Clara was guiding them, she began to observe subtle differences in their responses. Lily seemed to respond more to sounds and textures, while Lucas was more focused on movement and spatial awareness. She adjusted her approach for each child, giving them activities that played to their strengths while encouraging them to develop in other areas. Clara realized that understanding the twins individually was as important as teaching them together. In the mansion, news of the twins' progress began to spread quietly. The butler, Mr. Collins, often observed from a distance, impressed by the changes he saw. "They seem happier, more alive," he remarked one evening to Clara. She smiled but remained focused, knowing that the true challenge was not just awakening their senses but building their confidence and independence. One of Clara's most important lessons was teaching the twins about emotions. She would describe how people feel based on their expressions, tone of voice, and body language. "When I smile, it means I am happy," she explained. "When I frown, it may mean I am sad or worried." She encouraged the twins to respond, to recognize emotions in each other, and to express their own feelings. Slowly, Lily and Lucas began to show joy, frustration, curiosity, and excitement, communicating in ways they had never done before. As the weeks passed, the twins' personalities began to shine. Lily became playful and imaginative, inventing stories as she touched her toys. Lucas grew confident and curious, exploring the mansion and garden with determination. Clara's guidance had opened a new world for them, one filled with possibilities they had never imagined. Clara also realized that her work went beyond just teaching the twins. She needed to support the parents as well. Mr. and Mrs. Harrison had been distant, unsure how to connect with their children. Clara gently encouraged them to participate, to speak to the twins with warmth and attention, and to engage in the activities she planned. Slowly, the parents began to see the children not as fragile or incapable, but as bright, curious, and capable of learning and growth. One day, while sitting with the twins on the carpet, Clara noticed something remarkable. Lily reached out for her hand and said her first clear words directed at someone else, "Clara, more." Lucas, too, followed her lead, saying, "Clara, again." It was a small victory, but to Clara, it was monumental. The twins were beginning to communicate, to express their desires and needs, and to trust in her presence completely. By the end of the second month, Clara had established a rhythm with the twins. Each day was filled with exploration, learning, and discovery. She had turned ordinary activities into adventures, allowing Lily and Lucas to experience the world in ways they had never imagined. Their laughter, curiosity, and joy began to fill the mansion, replacing the quiet emptiness that had once dominated the space. Clara often reflected on her own journey. She had come to the mansion to care for the twins, but in doing so, she had become part of a larger story, a story of love, patience, and transformation. She understood that the real work was not just teaching the children but helping the entire household see that potential and hope could thrive even in unexpected places. The Harrison mansion, once a silent, formal house, was slowly transforming. Every corner echoed with the sound of discovery, every room filled with the warmth of attention and care. And at the center of it all was Clara, guiding the twins, teaching them, and showing them that the world was bigger, brighter, and more wonderful than they had ever imagined. In this part of their journey, Clara realized something important: the twins' abilities were not defined by limitations, but by the opportunities they were given. With patience, love, and belief, even the smallest spark could grow into a brilliant light. She promised herself that she would continue to guide Lily and Lucas, helping them experience life fully, until they could navigate the world with confidence, joy, and wonder. Clara had been working with Lily and Lucas for several months now. The twins had changed in ways that surprised everyone in the mansion. They moved more confidently, explored their surroundings with curiosity, and even started responding to instructions on their own. But Clara knew that there was still more to discover. She had a feeling deep inside that the children's so-called blindness might not be permanent. Something about the way they reacted to light, movement, and sound told her that their world had more to reveal. One bright morning, Clara decided it was time to try something new. She carefully set up a small experiment in the living room. She had placed a mirror near the window so the sunlight would reflect onto the floor. Then, she called Lily and Lucas over. "Today," she said gently, "we are going to play with light. Can you feel the sun on your hands? Can you follow it as it moves across the floor?" The twins sat quietly at first, unsure what to expect. Clara held their hands and guided them toward the light. She described every movement of the sunlight, how it shimmered, how it warmed their skin, and how it danced across the floor. Then, she asked them to reach out, to feel where the light was. To her surprise, Lily's fingers moved with intention, trying to catch the warm patches on the floor. Lucas followed, lifting his arms carefully, sensing the movement of light across the carpet. Clara watched in amazement. They were responding, not just to her words, but to something beyond their known senses. The children were discovering the world in a way that no one had given them the chance to before. Clara continued the activity, moving the mirrors to change the direction of the sunlight. She encouraged them to follow the light, describing its warmth, shape, and movement. Lily's laughter filled the room as she reached for the sunbeam, and Lucas's small voice expressed surprise and delight as he touched the floor where the light had been moments before. Clara felt a wave of hope. She knew this was something important, something that could change everything. After the sunlight experiment, Clara decided it was time to speak to the family doctor. She knew that the twins' responses to light were unusual and might need professional evaluation. That afternoon, she carefully explained her observations to Dr. Reynolds, the children's longtime pediatrician. "They are responding to visual stimuli," Clara said. "I'm not sure if they can see fully yet, but they are noticing changes in light and movement that were never encouraged before." Dr. Reynolds raised his eyebrows in surprise. "Are you sure?" he asked. "Their last diagnosis said they were blind." "We've tested them multiple times." Clara nodded firmly. "I know. But I've watched them for months. They react to sunlight, shadows, reflections, and even moving objects. I believe their blindness may not be complete, or at least, it can be improved with stimulation and training." Dr. Reynolds agreed to perform a series of tests, this time focusing on sensory response and visual perception. Over the next week, the twins were examined carefully. They were asked to follow light patterns, recognize objects through brief glimpses, and identify movement. Clara stayed with them throughout the tests, offering encouragement and comfort. The results shocked everyone. Dr. Reynolds confirmed that Lily and Lucas were not fully blind. Their vision had been limited, and their nervous systems had not been adequately stimulated during early childhood, which had caused delayed development. With proper guidance, therapy, and consistent encouragement, they could learn to see much more than anyone had imagined. When Clara shared the news with the Harrisons, the parents were stunned. Mr. Harrison rubbed his forehead, disbelief written on his face. "All these years, we thought they were blind. We never imagined they could see." Mrs. Harrison's eyes filled with tears. "We didn't know how to help them," she whispered. "We thought we were protecting them, but maybe we were holding them back instead." Clara gently took their hands. "It's not too late," she said. "They are ready to explore the world. They just need support, patience, and encouragement. We can help them discover what they've been missing all along." With the parents now fully aware of the situation, Clara began a new phase of her work. She created structured exercises designed to improve the twins' visual perception. Each day included activities that combined touch, sound, and sight. She used brightly colored objects, soft lights, and reflective surfaces. She encouraged Lily and Lucas to reach for objects, trace patterns in the air, and notice changes in their surroundings. One afternoon, Clara took the twins to the garden again, this time with a different approach. She placed colorful flowers along the path and guided their hands to feel the petals while describing their colors. "This rose is red like the sun when it sets," she said. "The tulip is yellow, like a shining light. Can you feel the differences?" Lily's fingers brushed across the petals carefully, while Lucas followed closely, trying to match her movements. Clara described the sunlight falling on the leaves, the gentle sway of the branches, and the shadows cast on the ground. Slowly, the twins began to notice changes in brightness and contrast, and even slight differences in shapes. Their eyes, once considered useless, were beginning to respond. Clara also incorporated games into their lessons. She would roll brightly colored balls toward them, letting them track the movement with their hands and eyes. She would hide small objects behind transparent barriers and encourage them to find the objects using sight and touch together. Each success, no matter how small, was celebrated with laughter, applause, and hugs. As the twins' abilities improved, their personalities began to shine more fully. Lily became more curious and adventurous, often reaching for objects without hesitation. Lucas grew more confident, exploring the room and garden with determination and focus. Their laughter became more frequent, and their conversations, though limited, started to include references to colors, light, and shapes. Clara's heart swelled with pride every time she witnessed their progress. The turning point came one afternoon when Clara set up a small demonstration with mirrors and sunlight in the living room. She guided the twins' hands to follow the light beams and described their movement. Then, she noticed something extraordinary. Lily squinted slightly and pointed in the direction of the reflected light. Lucas followed her lead, adjusting his hand to touch the beam. Clara's heart raced. They were using their eyes. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough to notice light, shape, and movement on their own. Clara called Dr. Reynolds immediately. The doctor came to the mansion the next day and confirmed her observations. "This is remarkable," he said. "With consistent training and stimulation, these children can develop vision far beyond what was previously thought possible." The Harrisons were both amazed and humbled. They had been so focused on what they believed were limitations that they had not seen the possibilities. Clara had not only given them hope for their children's future but had also opened their eyes to their own mistakes and assumptions. From that moment, the mansion was filled with renewed energy. The twins were no longer limited by fear or uncertainty. Every day, Clara guided them through exercises that combined sight, touch, and sound. She encouraged them to explore, to ask questions, and to notice details in their surroundings. Lily and Lucas thrived under her guidance, their abilities growing rapidly. Clara also helped the parents engage more actively. Mr. Harrison learned to describe objects, colors, and shapes in ways the twins could understand. Mrs. Harrison began to participate in garden activities and indoor exercises, holding the children's hands, describing their surroundings, and celebrating each small success. Together, the family began to heal from years of misunderstanding and neglect. By the end of this transformative period, the twins had made incredible progress. They could recognize shapes, follow movement, and respond to colors and light. Their world, once limited and dark, was opening up in ways that seemed almost miraculous. Clara's patience, care, and insight had changed everything. She had given the twins a chance to see the world not just with their eyes, but with curiosity, confidence, and joy. For Clara, this was more than a job. It was a mission, a calling, and a privilege. She had unlocked a world of possibilities for Lily and Lucas and had, in the process, changed the Harrison family forever. The mansion, once silent and somber, now echoed with laughter, excitement, and the promise of discovery. Clara had shown that with patience, love, and determination, even the most impossible situations could be transformed. The journey was not yet over. There were still challenges ahead, but Clara knew that the twins were capable of overcoming them. She had witnessed the first signs of true vision, and with every passing day, she could see them growing stronger, more confident, and more alive. The turning point had arrived, and the children's lives would never be the same again. Clara could feel the change in Lily and Lucas every day. Their laughter filled the mansion like sunlight breaking through clouds. The children, once quiet and hesitant, were now exploring their surroundings with curiosity and excitement. Even small activities became adventures. Clara realized that what had once seemed impossible was now unfolding right before her eyes. The morning started as usual with warm greetings and gentle encouragement. Clara led the twins to the living room, where she had arranged a colorful obstacle course using soft cushions, blankets, and small furniture. "Today," she said, "we are going to move like explorers. Follow my voice, and don't be afraid to touch and feel everything around you." Lily and Lucas were eager. They crawled, stepped, and climbed through the course, their faces lit with concentration and delight. Clara described each object, each texture, and each sound. "This blanket is soft like a cloud. Can you feel the difference between the carpet and the blanket?" The twins ran their fingers along the materials, learning to distinguish textures, shapes, and boundaries. It wasn't just physical skills that were improving, Clara noticed emotional growth as well. The twins were now able to express frustration when a task was difficult, ask for help when needed, and celebrate their own successes. Lily clapped her hands when she reached the end of the course, and Lucas beamed as he repeated the path faster than before. Clara cheered them on, proud of every small victory. The twins' newfound abilities also allowed them to experience the mansion in ways they never had before. Clara encouraged them to explore each room carefully, touching furniture, smelling flowers, and listening to the sounds around them. They could now identify the footsteps of people approaching, the creak of a door, and even the sound of wind moving the curtains. Clara's lessons had taught them to use all of their senses together, creating a fuller picture of the world. One afternoon, Clara decided to take the twins to the garden again, this time without holding their hands. "You are ready to explore on your own," she said gently. Lily and Lucas hesitated for a moment, then slowly stepped forward. Clara guided them with her voice, describing the path, the flowers, and the feel of the grass beneath their feet. "The grass is soft, and the earth is cool," she said. "Feel how the sun warms your face. Can you hear the birds singing above?" The twins moved carefully but confidently, discovering flowers and small stones. Lily bent down to touch a rose, smiling as she felt its soft petals, while Lucas ran his fingers along a small bush, enjoying the texture of the leaves. Clara watched with pride. She realized that they were not just exploring, they were learning to trust themselves and their senses. As the twins grew more independent, their personalities became more distinct. Lily was imaginative and playful, inventing stories about the flowers, animals, and toys she touched. Lucas was observant and thoughtful, noticing details that others might miss and often finding patterns in their activities. Clara encouraged both, showing them that each strength could be nurtured while gently guiding them to improve in areas where they were less confident. Clara also worked with the parents more closely. Mr. Harrison began spending time with the twins, learning to describe objects and colors in a way they could understand. "Lily, this book is blue like the sky," he said one morning, smiling at her reaction. "Lucas, see the red ball? It's bright like a cherry." Slowly, the children's world expanded as the parents learned to communicate with them in meaningful ways. Mrs. Harrison, too, grew more involved. She joined Clara in garden walks, describing flowers and trees, and holding the twins' hands as they explored. She began to realize how much she had underestimated her children's abilities. "I thought we were protecting them," she said softly to Clara one day, "but we were holding them back. I see now how much they can do." The mansion, once quiet and somber, was now alive with activity. The twins' laughter, curiosity, and excitement filled every room. Clara introduced new experiences, simple games that combined sight, sound, and touch, short walks outside to feel the wind, and music lessons where the children could follow rhythms and tones. Each activity helped the twins learn more about the world and about themselves. One day, Clara set up a small painting activity. She gave Lily and Lucas soft brushes and described the colors vividly. "This paint is yellow, like sunshine. This one is green, like the leaves outside. Can you feel the brush on the paper and imagine the colors?" The twins dipped their brushes and explored the texture of the paint. Lily laughed as the brush left marks on the paper, while Lucas carefully pressed down to create patterns. Clara described each stroke, connecting the tactile experience to the colors and shapes. Through these exercises, the twins' vision continued to improve. They could now see shapes, detect movement, and even recognize some colors. The change was slow but steady. Clara's consistent encouragement and the parents' participation reinforced every lesson. Lily and Lucas were learning not only to see but to understand and appreciate the world around them. The transformation extended beyond the mansion walls. Clara began teaching the twins about daily life skills. They learned to pour water carefully, pick up objects without dropping them, and navigate small obstacles. Each success built confidence. The children began to take initiative, reaching for objects, exploring rooms, and even suggesting new activities. Clara watched with pride as they blossomed into capable, independent individuals. Even simple moments became opportunities for growth. During breakfast, Clara encouraged the twins to identify different foods by texture, smell, and color. "Lily, this orange is soft and juicy. Lucas, the bread is warm and smooth. Can you feel the difference?" The children eagerly participated, laughing when they got it right and trying again when they didn't. Every small achievement reinforced their sense of accomplishment. Clara also emphasized emotional learning. She encouraged the twins to express their feelings, recognize emotions in others, and respond appropriately. Lily learned to comfort Lucas when he felt frustrated, and Lucas learned to share his excitement without overwhelming Lily. Clara explained that understanding emotions was as important as learning to see, and the twins quickly embraced these lessons. The mansion had transformed along with the children. The rooms were no longer silent. The halls echoed with laughter and conversation. Mr. and Mrs. Harrison learned to appreciate the small moments of progress and the importance of patience and support. The family had become closer, more connected, and more aware of the potential within the twins. Clara's role had shifted as well. She was no longer just a caretaker, she was a mentor, teacher, and guide. Her patience, creativity, and dedication had opened a new world for Lily and Lucas. She had shown them and their parents that limitations were often illusions created by fear and misunderstanding. One evening, Clara sat with the twins in the garden, watching the sunset. The sky was painted in shades of pink and orange, and the children reached out as if to touch the colors. "Lily, can you feel the warmth of the sun?" Clara asked. Lily nodded, her eyes wide with wonder. "Lucas, see how the shadows move as the sun sets." Lucas smiled, adjusting his position to watch the changing light. Clara realized that these small moments were the true measure of progress. The twins were not only seeing more clearly, they were experiencing life fully. Their world was no longer confined by walls, darkness, or fear. They were exploring, learning, and growing in ways that had once seemed impossible. By the end of this period, Clara's work had achieved something extraordinary. Lily and Lucas were thriving. They could navigate their environment, recognize objects and colors, and respond to changes in light and movement. Their emotional intelligence was growing, and their confidence had blossomed. The mansion, once a place of quiet isolation, was now filled with life, laughter, and discovery. Clara's dedication had transformed the children's lives completely. She had not only helped them develop their vision but had also nurtured their independence, creativity, and emotional awareness. The twins were no longer defined by what they could not do, they were defined by what they could achieve. As night fell over the mansion, Clara reflected on how far they had come. She knew there were still challenges ahead, but the progress was undeniable. Lily and Lucas had begun to experience life in a way that no one had imagined possible. They were learning to see, touch, hear, and understand the world in all its richness. Clara had given them a gift far greater than sight. It was the gift of confidence, curiosity, and hope. The mansion, once cold and silent, was now filled with warmth and life. The parents had learned to trust and support their children, and the twins were discovering the joy of possibility. Clara knew that this transformation was just the beginning. The children's journey had only started, and with love, guidance, and patience, they could achieve even more than anyone had ever dreamed. The days in the Harrison mansion had grown brighter and livelier than anyone could have imagined. Lily and Lucas, once quiet and hesitant, were now full of curiosity, energy, and excitement. Their eyes, once thought incapable of seeing, were opening to a world full of colors, shapes, and light. Clara had been with them every step of the way, guiding, encouraging, and celebrating each small victory. One morning, Clara entered the twins' room carrying a basket of new objects, small toys, colorful blocks, and books filled with bright illustrations. "Today," she said warmly, "we are going to explore new things and learn even more about the world around us." Lily and Lucas's eyes widened with excitement as they reached for the objects. Clara carefully described each one in detail, allowing the children to touch, feel, and imagine. "This block is red and smooth," she said. "This book has bright pictures of animals. Let's see if we can guess what they are by touching the pages and listening to the sounds." The twins eagerly followed Clara's guidance. Lily traced the shapes of the animals on the pages with her fingers, while Lucas carefully examined the textures of the blocks. Clara encouraged them to notice the details, the softness of a cat's fur in the illustration, the pointy ears of a fox, the smooth scales of a fish. She explained each color vividly, connecting what they could feel and imagine with what they could begin to see. Slowly but surely, the children's world was expanding beyond what they had ever known. The progress was remarkable, but Clara knew the next step was helping them explore the mansion and garden independently. She guided them through the hallways, teaching them to recognize rooms by their furniture, the texture of the carpets, and the sounds that echoed in each space. "Lily, notice the rug, it feels soft and thick. That tells you are in the living room," Clara explained. "Lucas, hear the ticking of the clock. That sound is always near the stairs." The twins listened intently, learning to rely on their senses in combination with the vision they were developing. Clara also encouraged the children to explore their surroundings outside. The garden, once a place for cautious walks, became a playground for discovery. Lily and Lucas learned to identify flowers by sight, touch, and scent. They explored the pathways, feeling the grass beneath their feet and listening to the sounds of birds and wind. Clara guided them, describing the changes in light and shadows as the sun moved across the sky. Each day brought new experiences, helping them gain confidence and independence. The parents, too, had transformed alongside the twins. Mr. Harrison and Mrs. Harrison were no longer distant or hesitant. They actively participated in the children's activities, describing objects, colors, and movements, and celebrating every accomplishment. Mr. Harrison would often join Clara and the twins in the garden, pointing out the bright colors of flowers and the patterns of sunlight on the lawn. Mrs. Harrison learned to hold the children's hands while guiding them through new experiences, showing encouragement, patience, and pride. One afternoon, Clara decided it was time for a special activity, a small adventure in the garden involving all 5 family members. She placed colorful markers along a path and explained the plan. "Lily and Lucas," she said, "we are going to follow the path and discover surprises along the way. Everyone will help guide each other and describe what they see, feel, and hear." The twins listened eagerly, holding Clara's hands while their parents followed close behind. As they moved along the path, the twins explored each surprise. A small fountain sparkled in the sunlight, and Clara described the way water moved, the coolness it created in the air, and the sounds of the flowing water. Lily reached out to touch the water, laughing at the sensation, while Lucas traced the edges of the fountain, fascinated by the texture and sound. Their parents watched in awe, amazed at how much the children were learning and enjoying the world around them. This activity became a turning point for the family. The Harrisons realized that their children were capable of so much more than they had imagined. Their hearts filled with gratitude for Clara, whose dedication and love had opened a door to a world they thought was closed forever. They began to understand that their children's potential had always been there, it had only needed the right guidance, patience, and belief to emerge. Over the following weeks, Clara continued to introduce new experiences. She taught Lily and Lucas to read simple words using tactile letters, connect sounds with objects, and recognize colors by associating them with familiar items. The children thrived under her guidance, their confidence and curiosity growing each day. They began to express themselves more fully, asking questions, describing their surroundings, and showing excitement for new discoveries. The mansion, once quiet and formal, now echoed with joy and activity. The children's laughter rang through the halls, and the parents joined in, participating in lessons, games, and outdoor adventures. The bond within the family strengthened, and Clara's role became even more cherished. She had not only helped the twins develop their abilities but had also helped the family reconnect in meaningful ways. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in shades of pink and gold, Clara sat with the twins on a bench in the garden. "Look at the sky," she said softly. "Can you see the colors? The pink, the orange, and the soft blue." Lily and Lucas tilted their heads, their eyes following Clara's words. They reached out, feeling the air and imagining the colors as Clara described them. It was a quiet, magical moment, filled with wonder and gratitude. Clara reflected on the journey she had taken with the twins. She remembered the day she first arrived at the mansion, when Lily and Lucas were withdrawn and hesitant, uncertain about the world around them. Now, months later, they were thriving, seeing, exploring, and experiencing life in ways no one had thought possible. Clara felt a deep sense of fulfillment and pride, knowing that her care and dedication had made this transformation possible. The Harrisons, too, recognized Clara's extraordinary impact. One afternoon, they gathered with the twins in the living room. Mr. Harrison looked at Clara with admiration. "You have changed our children's lives in ways we could never imagine," he said. "You are more than a maid. You are a teacher, a guide, and a friend. We are forever grateful." Mrs. Harrison nodded, tears in her eyes. "You believed in them when no one else did," she said softly. "You showed them and us that their potential was limitless. We can never thank you enough." Clara smiled, feeling warmth and happiness she had never experienced before. "It's been my honor," she said. "Lily and Lucas have worked so hard. They deserve all the credit. I just helped guide them." The twins, now more confident and joyful than ever, hugged Clara tightly. "Thank you, Clara," Lily whispered. "You helped us see the world." Lucas echoed her words, holding her hand and smiling. In that moment, Clara realized that her work had gone far beyond teaching or guiding. It had changed lives, opened hearts, and created a family bound by love, trust, and gratitude. From that day on, the Harrison mansion was no longer a place of silence or hesitation. It was a home filled with laughter, curiosity, and shared experiences. The twins explored the world with confidence, independence, and joy. The parents, now fully engaged, celebrated every success and encouraged new adventures. And Clara, whose patience, kindness, and dedication had made it all possible, was recognized not just as a maid, but as an extraordinary presence in their lives. Lily and Lucas continued to thrive. They learned new skills, explored new places, and discovered new interests. Their vision and confidence grew each day, and their personalities flourished. They became more independent, but they always remembered the guidance and care that Clara had given them. She had not only taught them to see but had also taught them to believe in themselves. Clara often watched the twins play in the garden, smiling as they discovered new things. She reflected on how far they had come and felt a deep sense of pride. She knew that their journey was ongoing, but she also knew that the foundation she had helped build was strong. Lily and Lucas were ready to face the world with confidence, curiosity, and courage. The story of the Harrison twins and Clara became an inspiration to everyone in their lives. It was a story of patience, love, and belief in human potential. It showed that with guidance, encouragement, and dedication, even the most challenging obstacles could be overcome. And it proved that one person's care could change not just the lives of children but the hearts of an entire family. As the sun set each evening, casting warm golden light over the mansion and garden, Clara felt content. She had fulfilled her mission. She had opened the world to Lily and Lucas, helped their parents reconnect with them, and transformed a household from silence to joy. The twins were no longer defined by limitations. They were defined by their abilities, their curiosity, and their love for life. And Clara, whose heart had guided them through every challenge, knew that this story of transformation and hope would stay with her and with the Harrisons forever.